The first question tonight about the witr prayers. We always talk about the dealings, about the family affairs, and things of this life affairs. But it's time to take a step back about the first thing that you're asked for is the prayers. The witr prayer, from the greatest things you could come close to Allah. Some scholars they said it's obligatory, but it is from the Sunnah that is confirmed that the Muslim should take care of it, should always do it. The Imam Ahmad used to say, anyone who leaves the witr, he is a bad person. You should not sleep with him, be with him. You do not accept his testimony in court. What does it mean, the witr prayer? The prayer, the individual one, that you conclude your prayers at night. You could do 1 rak'ah, or 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. It depends on your energy. It is the witr prayer that you conclude the night prayer. The description of it is different. If you made 3 only, you could make salam after the first one, and then have the last one. Or he could combine all 3 of them together with 1 salam and 1 tashahhud. So it will not be like Maghrib. So if he had 5 or 7, he will pray them all with 1 tashahhud and 1 salam. If he prayed 9, he could pray 8. Is it the 8th you do not make salam? Then he stand up. If he had 11, he pray 2, 2, 2, 2, and then end up with 1. The time of witr after Isha. If you pray it with Maghrib, and if you are combining the prayer of Maghrib and Isha, then you can pray Isha at the time of, or if you are sick and you combine the Maghrib and Isha, and then you could pray after Isha, even though it's the time of Maghrib, and extend until the Fajr time. If the Fajr came and you didn't make witr, then he do not make witr at daytime, but he will replace it double, because the Prophet ﷺ if the Prophet ﷺ did not pray at night, then he will pray double, like 2, 2, 2, 2. The time of witr from after Isha until Fajr time. And the proof, the Prophet ﷺ saying that Allah has given you an extra prayer, is witr. Allah made it between Isha until Fajr. Is it better to do it early in the time or after? The Sunnah that who want to pray at the end of the night, it is better to leave it till the end, because the last part of the night is witnessed. But if you fear that you're not going to be able to, like for the hadith of Jabir, may Allah be pleased with him, that the Prophet ﷺ said, whomever feels that he will not stand or the night prayers and do the witr, then he need to do it in the beginning. And whomever want to get the more reward, it is the end of the night because it is wasn't, and that is better. Imam Nawawi, he said this is the correct path, and all the other hadith on that application. He said, my companions advised me not to sleep until I pray witr. The witr, the least, one rak'ah. Because the Prophet ﷺ said the witr is one rak'ah at the end of the night. And because he said the witr 2-2, the night prayer is 2-2, and if you fear you're going to oversleep, then you pray one rak'ah to make witr what he have prayed. So if the person did only that, then he has done the sunnah. We have mentioned also the least of perfection. You make 2 rak'ahs and then you make salam and then make one and then you salam. Whoever don't have 5, 7, 9 and 11, so the least thing you do 2 rak'ahs and make salam, and then make 1 rak'ah and you make your salam. And you can make him in 1 salam with 1 tashahhud, so it will not be like Maghrib. It is better to recite in the first rak'ah سبح اسم ربك الأعلى, and the second one قل يا أيها الكافرون, the third one قل هو الله أحد. Another question: if someone wore his socks on wudu, then he wasted his wudu. Can he wear another socks on top of the first one because it's too cold? It's just the same rule of khuf. If you wear it on tahara, then you could wipe on it for 1 night and day if you are residing, and 3 days and 3 nights if you are traveling. If you need another socks on top of the first one, then the rule for the first one, meaning he have to wear the first one on wudu, not on wiping. So if he made wudu and he watches and he wore that thing, and after an hour he wore another sock and he's still in wudu, he could wipe on it because he wore it on the first purification. But if he made the tahara by wiping on the first layer of socks, then if he wore the second one, he needs to take it out whenever he make wudu again. A man divorced his wife for the first time. He said, I divorced. That's very clear, big, clear. Does that mean that she's forbidden him? And what's her idda? Can't she go out of the house day or night? And she don't have niqab. The answer, that statement that the man made that you divorce a clear, uh, the scholar they said you ask about his intention. If he meant three, then she is divorced from him, the big one, and she will not allowed to go back to him until she marries someone else, a normal marriage. If intention is not that, then he cannot have her again until he have a new contract. And one of the scholars said, if he told her you're divorced, the biggest divorce or the worst talaq, if you meant three, then it's a three. Then it will be one. But there is another thought, of school of thought, and maybe that's the more right one. Because that one is on the three, on the big divorce. So the Bainuna Kubra is on three. It has no value because it's the one time he divorced her. Like if he said you're divorced three times, it's still only one divorce. In the decision of American Assembly of Muslim Jurists, Assembly, that the number has no value whenever you make divorce. That's one time divorce. And the one who had adda, she can go out of the house daytime to get some interest, and she don't leave at night except for emergency. If she is from the people of the period, Allah said that she has to be three periods. She's pregnant. Her time is when she gives whenever she gives the birth, when she delivers the baby. And those who don't have their period, then they wait 3 months. As Allah said, and those who are pregnant is whenever they deliver the baby. A question that we always hear: to copy the programs without getting the rights for copyrights. Is there a problem or no? The answer, we have answered this several times. Maybe this is a reminder. That the copyrights of in literature is very sacred. You should not copy it without the permission of the owner, because the person spent years and spent time and money, and at the end someone will take his privacy and make copies, and he spoke to him what he has spent and the time that he took to preserve that material. No. In the decision of Assembly of American Jurists, that he has allowance what is considered like the educational was. It says the copyrights, it is preserved. It's forbidden to attack it. and the law protect that light. But you can make a copy for personal use when you cannot make an original copy, because you cannot be able to get the original one with the need, desperate need for it, considered a general need, which is the emergency, the Wallahu Alam. And anyway, if you buy the program and they give you immediately to use that program. Just like whenever you go to the bank, you open an account until you get the original debit card or credit card. They give you a temporary one uh, as soon, so you could buy until the permanent card comes to you. The another question, m- my grandson, he made haram, but he was forbidden for no reason. First, whoever made haram, whether it's Hajj or Umrah, in this non, uh, whenever you have a problem that we see because of COVID, or you could make a condition or make the ihram that if something happened, then I'm on what happens to me. So if he was stopped from getting to do the Umrah or Hajj, then he will have the hell at that time. So you don't have to pay nothing or make an qada or any other issues. The hadith of Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, she said, Ya alayhi salatu wasalam, where's Badar daughter Zubair? She said, Oh Prophet of Allah, I need the Hajj and I'm in pain. So he told her, make Hajj and make a condition. My place is wherever I am stopped. If you don't make that condition and you are stopped between going to Al Kaaba, then he need to slaughter an animal on himself and whomever he is required to do. And it was said that he not need anything. Allah said, if you are stopped, whatever of the livestock. And that's why Allah said, and complete the Hajj and Umrah. So if you can't complete them, then whatever you keep able to slaughter. It was authenticated that the Prophet ﷺ, they were stopped at Hudaybiyah, and the Quraysh disbelieved, and they did not allow them to go to Mecca, so they slaughtered their hadi and they went back. It was also said that he's supposed to fast 10 days. And Shafi'i chose the other, and his guardian to take that statement. An engineer who just graduated, looking for work. desperately, and he found some work in a company, an electric company, bring the equipment from France. He said next week they will talk to me. I have difficulty because of the boycott of France. I boycott them and everything I'm capable of. He desperately looking for work for over 3 months. Is it haram for me to whatever I have problems with? What other measurements I need to look at my actions and judge it to? So first of all, we tell you about the boycott, meaning you don't deal with others, financial or social, in a very calculated way, and it is one of the way to combat oppression. So if Allah allows the things that are good, so whatever the area you deal with, whether Muslim or not, when the boycott comes in, the only tool, it becomes something that is allowed, but sometimes becomes obligatory to boycott because the tools they take the place of the intentions. But the scholar they have to come up with this boycott, so it will be effective. And I really don't know how far this boycott could go. Because this is not an individual work, it is a community work. It's, so go back to the scholars because they are more knowledgeable in the condition. The things that are forbidden, that are very clear, you could allow some of it under the need or the public need. That's is known. May Allah make us successful. Today's questions, we know that the wife cannot a foreign person to enter her household. But is it okay for her friends to enter the masjid without the permission of her husband? We have talked about this before. So if the couples they allow their partners enter their girls' friends in the house, it's okay. Bec- it is not the habit of Muslims that the woman will ask about her friends to come to the house. Because what is known, at, look at someone who have the same character. If someone's jealous And you know more about your husband. But the divorce does not have to be uh, said loudly, because if you want to cut the dot with the certainty, ask him. Ask him, tell him that some of my girlfriends come in. Do you have a problem with that if I allow them to come in? Is it true that the woman will not go without his permission? Well, to go shopping or to get the kids from the school or to go to her close relatives, the husband allowed that without going back and have permission. And there's another level bigger that will bring doubt. That one needs the husband's permission. So if you know from your husband that he allows, then alhamdulillah for his bounty. If you think he's jealous and stuff, you have to obey him, and you try to find some of the relatives that are prestigious in the family, that you could talk to them face to face and find a way out or a solution. I have made another one lamb. What do I do if you made another and you cannot fulfill it? Then you make the kafara fi me, where Allah said to feed 10 needy from the middle of what you give your kids. But if you think, if you wait a little bit, maybe Allah will bring his make an ease. I live in Montreal, Canada. About the people who are not vaccinated to go to the masjid. Like they are saying, you have to show the so those who are required to do it to Jum'ah, they need to get the vaccination. Just like you make a wudu for Fajr, then to come to the Jum'ah, you need to make sure you have your vaccination. And the law requires it. So don't fall short into this. I wonder about inheritance. Their father died, and he left 100,000. 100,000 is fine, American, and one of the two brothers, you don't see anything wrong with using that traditional bank. Can we divide it to have the one? The one who forbids to take that money and verify it. The answer, the religion is to give advice. So you have to give advice to your an advice. If he refused, then he could divide the money to purify his part of the riba and to bring back to Islam. If he refused, then he take that the apartment and to give his brother whatever he can or agreed on. Allah said, "Oh, we believe you are only responsible for yourself. It will not harm you. Those who went astray." We have a masjid, the Imam is from Sufi, and there's other masjid. The prayer forbidden the person who pray there. This is from the question depends on the expression of the one who is asking. That tasawwuf is a general term. Some you punish for, some you're required not to do, and some permitted. And to accept it need also details. Those who go to the graves and they do too much of it, and those who ask those in the grave to intercede in front of them to Allah. This is shirk. So there's different things, but in general, the Muslim needs to be concerned to take those that he trusts in the religion and the knowledge, and to even walk or go to the other extra mile. If you can't, except that only masjid that's close one, and the choice to pray there in his house and that masjid, or he pray behind the masjid, because the prayer before the one who have innovation is better than the one in his house, unless it become disbelief, because those who are prayers is accepted for himself, it is accepted for others. So if they chose between leaving the congregations and or to pray behind those elevated, it is better to pray behind the elevators in Jama'ah than to pray by yourself. A man's asking, I work in accounting. I was told someone came to me with investment in work with a company that I'm required only to the financial part. But 90% of it is investment. 7%, some of it goes to selling bags or can I work with that? If the original part is allowed and has minor bad things or forbidden things, and you work only declared document. In the decision of Assembly of American Jurists about working in accounting, it is allowed by the itself because the accountant he take technical part and he get money from striving on things that is allowed. The list of the company deals with pigs and alcohol, but you look at each need by itself. But if the halal is mixed with the haram, in the work of the accountant, then if it is mostly halal stated, with the doubt still being there, which require you to look for another job that there's no doubt in it. But if the haram overwhelmed with considering the emergencies or the necessity, and there is nothing wrong of working as accountant because you have your office where he get different quotation. So there's nothing wrong with his work because he's just a transporting with no exception, except the institutions that is main income from major things that is haram. The last question we're gonna conclude with. The wife went to the civil court and she refused that anybody interfere. And the court wanted to divide the wealth. And the husband refusing the divorce. Is that a Shari'i divorce? We have answered that so many times before. We said the civil court, the that will only dissolve the civilian part, but the Sharia one, only the husband or the Sharia court. And the Islamic centers, they take that position. But once the legal part is done, then the Islamic one will be done. Then you'll be able to do. When you get married, you bring a marriage license, you bring it to us, and when we make the marriage, then he will, after we sign it, they go back to the court. If they want to divorce, they still have to go to the court first, finish the civilian part of it, then come back to the Islamic Center to make the Sharia division. وأسأل الله عز وجل the success إن شاء الله. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.